I think you might be shocked at some of these ratings. Hello, my name's Michaela. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things books. Today we're filming my favourite video to film ever, and that is my monthly reading wrap-up, because we're going to be talking about all the books I've read in March, and this is a very heavy stack. Let me actually put these down before I drop them. Before we get into the books, and let me tell you, there are some good ones here. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to click on this video. Please hit that subscribe button, it literally means so much to me, and let's get into it. As we usually do, we're going to start out with the stats, but if you're not interested in that, I will put timestamps down below, so feel free to skip ahead. And this time we are going to go from lowest to highest. And let me tell you, there are some 5-star books in here, some good 5-star books. In the month of March, I read 16 books. 16 books. I'm sorry, who is she? What's happened? I have no clue. My monthly average is usually around 10 books, but like I must have been drinking a hell of a lot of Monster or something this month, because I actually can't believe I've read 16 books. And that works out at a total of 5,547 pages. I actually can't believe it. 12 of the books that I read were between 300 and 499 pages long, and 4 of them were less than 300 pages. So I did read quite a few novellas this month, which I do think helped like boost those numbers up quite a bit. Every single book I read was fiction, which is pretty normal. I do need to try and read some non-fiction. I do have one in my April TBR video. I'll put that up above, so go check that out. And most of the genres I read this month were in like the thriller and horror. Last month it was mainly fantasy, which like nobody saw coming, especially not me. But this month we brought it back, and we were back to the thriller and horror. The format in which I read these, I read 7 on my Kindle, I read 4 physically, and I listened to 5 on audio, which again, I really think that's helped me like read more this month, as I did do more on audio. And then my average rating for the month is 3.72, which is higher than last month, which is what I wanted. Last month's was 3.5, and my goal this month was to get a higher star rating, and I achieved that. I did it, and we had 3 5-star books. So should we get into the book reviews? So like I said, we're going to go from lowest to highest, so let's get the negativity out of the way. And I did have one DNF this month, and that DNF was The List of Suspicious Things by Jenny Godfrey. The List of Suspicious Things is set in Yorkshire. It's set in the 1970s when the Yorkshire Ripper was at his like most prolific time. We follow a young girl called Miv. I don't know actually how old she is. I want to say she's like 11 or 12, and her dad is saying that Yorkshire's just not safe for them to live there anymore. So they want to move down south to get away. However, Miv is like, I don't want to leave my best friends. So she's convinced that she's going to find out who the Yorkshire Ripper is. Then that way she can stop them from moving, and she can stay with her best friend. And I decided to DNF this around 30% of the way through. I really wanted to love this, as I thought the premise sounded quite unique. I don't think I've read a book like that before, but I think something I've come to realise is I don't like following the point of view of a child. I got 30% through, and I really did feel like I gave it a good go, but 30% of a book that's nearly 500 pages, it was starting to drag, and I really wasn't enjoying myself. So I decided that this just wasn't for me. Like I said, I think it was being in like the mind and the point of view of this child. It's just not something I enjoy. So obviously I've not rated it. We're just marking it as a DNF. That's okay, and we are moving swiftly on. Although I am sad because this has got really cute pink edges. My lowest rated book of the month was Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker, and I actually read this in a vlog. I read it in a new release book vlog, so I will leave that down below where you can go and see my thoughts in real time as I was reading this book. The genre of this is like a thriller horror. I would say it leans more into the horror side of things rather than thriller, but we were reading this for mine and my friends' in-person book club, and I was quite excited to read it, as I was excited to read any of these books. I always say I never go into books wanting to like come on here and trash them. It just wasn't for me, and the reason that like I might not like a book could be the reason that you end up loving it. Bat Eater follows a girl called Cora. Cora is a crime scene cleaner, and this is set during COVID. It's literally set as the COVID outbreak happened. Like they're talking about how the fact that they couldn't find any toilet roll, and it took me back to a dark place, let me tell you. Cora's sister was sadly murdered as she was pushed in front of an oncoming train as somebody shouted Bat Eater. So Cora and her sister are both Asian, and they're starting to think that all of these like crimes that are happening could be racially linked to people blaming Asian people for the COVID outbreak, which is like a very real thing that was happening. The first half of this book I was quite enjoying. However, the second half took a turn with a trope that isn't to my taste. Like the back does say, you can't just ignore hungry ghosts. So that's not something that I particularly like reading about, and I would have DNF'd it if it wasn't the book club choice. I always feel like with book club picks, I have to finish them. But I would have DNF'd it if it wasn't for book club. So I ended up giving it 2 stars, and I think it was like quite a mixed bag of book club opinions. Like some people loved it, like Emma, who I run the book club with, she gave it 4 stars. She really did enjoy it, whereas it just wasn't for me. 2 stars. Something I did really like in this book though actually was the crime scene cleanup aspect of it. Like some of the descriptions were quite vivid, and I wish that it kind of carried on with that like mainly was like a third of the book, and then after that it wasn't really mentioned again. So I think I maybe would have enjoyed it. Don't know what that says about me, is if there was like more of the crime scene cleanup, like, yeah. So I actually forgot I read this book until I just looked at my story graph. So if that doesn't tell you that I didn't enjoy this book, I don't know what will. And the book is called Stamped Out by Tonya Kappes. And this is a cozy mystery that is literally like 160 pages long. It's 160 pages long, but it took me 3 days to read it, because I just was not having a good time with it. This follows a woman who is a postwoman. She lives in this like really cute town, and I did like the setting of this town, like where she is a postwoman, and because she's a postwoman, she knows everybody's business, like I'm sure most post people do. The postwoman's called Bernadette, and sadly her husband passed away a few years ago, so she's a widow. So everybody does like kind of like look out for her. They're always trying to go on dates, and she's just not interested. When one day there is a murder in the town, so she takes it upon herself to try and solve it, as her husband's best friend is the main suspect. I think my problem with this book was I really didn't like Bernadette. I didn't like her at all. I couldn't warm to her. Some of the decisions she was making, I was like, oh God. But I will give this book credit, because the twist, I never saw it coming. I was literally so shocked. It was a really good twist. So sadly, this book didn't work for me. I ended up giving it 2.5 stars. I gave it an extra half a star for the twist, because I was like, wow, that's actually really good. But if you're looking for like a short, really quick 150 page read, then cozy mystery, then you might like it. We're now in the 3 stars, and I think that's pretty good considering we're only 3 books in and we've only got 1 3 stars, and that is Other People's Houses by Clare Mackintosh. And this was one of my most anticipated reads, as I absolutely love this series. So this is part of the Detective Fionn Morgan series. So each book can be read as standalones, but this is the 3rd book in that series. I have read them all. The first book, The Last Party, I think it's called, is one of my favourite thriller books from Clare Mackintosh. I absolutely love it. I wasn't a fan of the second, and sadly, I'm now not a fan of the 3rd. This book follows Detective Fionn Morgan when this time the crime is that people are breaking into this like luxurious housing estate, and nobody's got a clue who it is. So Detective Fionn Morgan is on the case to try and solve it. And along with the series, we also get her love interest, who is called Leo, and he is also a police officer. So I guess like the continuing theme of these books is like you're following like that love interest side of things. I love Detective Fionn Morgan as a character. I love like the characters that are also in the book. However, I just couldn't get on board with the plot of this. I was very confused. I felt that there was a lot of people who I was like losing track of. I think maybe if I had like a character list, it would have been a bit easier, but I was reading it on my Kindle. And yeah, I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it, which is how I landed on a 3-star rating. Will I continue with this series? I don't know. I don't know if I will. Do you know what? I will. I decided that very quickly. I will carry on with the series because I do like the characters. I just need like the thriller book plot, which is mainly the main plot, not the subplot, to I don't know, it just didn't work for me. I feel like that's most of the negativity out of the way. That's not too bad, is it? Everything from here on out is 3.5 stars or more. So prepare for your TBRs to grow exponentially. I've got 6 3.5 star books. I feel like I should clarify probably what a 3.5 star rating is to me. So a 3.5 star rating to me is a book that I've really enjoyed. I would recommend these books to you. But 4 stars is I loved the book, or I very, very strongly liked it. 3.5 stars to me are just like, yeah, they're good. I would recommend them, but maybe like don't run out to read them. Does that make sense? I feel like ratings are like so personal to people, aren't they? And my rating system is just honestly pure vibes. That's it. The first 3.5 stars is Drowning at the Diner by Beth Dolgner, which is the sequel to Homicide at the Haunted House, which I read last month and I absolutely adored it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it was such a cute paranormal cozy mystery. And I don't like paranormal, but this cozy mystery, I don't know, it just did so, it was so much fun. I had such a good fun time reading it. I think this is part of a series with like, I want to say like 7 books maybe, and they were all less than 200 pages. So I thought, I think this was the first book I read this month, to be fair. Our main character in this series is called Olivia. So Olivia is like a frequent visitor to this diner, and the waitress who serves it all the time is the person that's convicted or accused of drowning this guy in the sink. So she's like, I'll help you try and get away with this. And it was good. It was a good, fun read. Was it anything groundbreaking? No. Did I love it as much as the first book in the series? No. Will I be continuing with the series? Yes. This series is all on Kindle Unlimited too. So if you're looking for like, yeah, a really cute, cozy mystery, a palette cleanser, if you will, I would recommend this. The next book I gave 3.5 stars was Catherine Ryan Howard's Burn After Reading. This was another one that I read in a vlog, and this comes out, I think it comes out in April. I'm pretty sure it does. I'll put it on screen, the date that it's coming out. Catherine Ryan Howard is one of my favourite thriller authors. The Trap by her is like one of my all-time favourite thrillers. I recommend that with chest. So I was really excited to read this. This follows a girl who has been hired to ghostwrite a man called Jack's book. He was like a famous like sportsman. I think he was a cyclist, and he was accused of killing his wife. His wife was found inside their burning home. Jack's rushed in to save her, and when they've done the post-mortem, it came out that Jack's wife was dead before the fire had even started. So he's automatically number one suspect. There was never enough evidence to convict him, so he got away with it basically. But now he wants to write a memoir confessing to the crime. So yeah, we're following our main character. She's been hired to ghostwrite this book. And I just absolutely love that like book within a book trope. It's one of my favourite tropes in books. I love books where the main character is an author or like a book is being written. So I absolutely loved that aspect of it. I always think Catherine Ryan Howard gets across like a strong, like powerful message in her books as well. I feel like her books always do have something to say, but for me the pacing was just a bit off in this book. I did enjoy it, but it's nowhere near my favourite by Catherine Ryan Howard. Do I think you should pre-order this? Probably not. Maybe wait for it to come out in paperback and then give it a go. It also very closely resembles the O.J. Simpson case. I do absolutely love the cover of this though, and it isn't being released in America, but if you want to get your hands on it, I think you can order from a website called Blackwell's, and they do free shipping to America if you did want to get your hands on this. Oh my god, I've just realised I had another DNF. Sorry, let's skip back a second. I got another DNF, which is You Are Fatally Invited by Ande, Pliego. This was my online book club pick for this month, and sadly I DNF'd it, which I know I'm a hypocrite. I said when I was reading Bat Eater, I don't feel like I can DNF book club picks, but I had to, guys. It was slumping me. I literally thought I had to dip out. I couldn't do it. This was a 5-star prediction for me. If you go back and watch my March TBR plans, I was so excited to read this book because the premise of it sounds unreal. The premise of this book is 6 thriller authors get invited to a private island by an author, like a best-selling author, but nobody knows who this author is. He's always gone under a pseudonym. And then when they get there, they start having like games that have been planned for them based on like thriller book tropes. I mean, that premise sounds so juicy, so good, and I DNF'd it. I am not exaggerating when I say I had no clue what was going on. I had no clue who each person was. That I was so confused, and I read this on the back of like reading 2 other books that I didn't enjoy. So yeah, I could feel myself slipping into a slump, and I was like, I need to dip out. And I think the resounding reviews of people who have read it in the online book club, they've not enjoyed it either. I did get my friends to spoil it for me though, and do you know what? Like, the ending did actually sound quite good, but when they told me like who like the culprit was, I was like, yeah, I don't know who that is. But it did sound quite good. My bestie Kylie sent me this all the way from Wales because I really wanted to read it, and she had an arc of it, so she sent it to me. So I'm really sorry that I didn't like it, but I'm also really glad that I didn't buy it. The Daughter by T.M. Logan was on track to be a 5-star book for me. When I was like halfway through, I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. I love it. Where is this going? I actually did this one on audio, and I listened to the whole audiobook in a day while I was working because I couldn't stop. This follows a woman called Lauren as her daughter has just broke up for summer break from university. So she goes to pick her up. She knocks on the room where she last dropped her daughter off, and the person that answers the door is like, not her daughter. And she's like, I've got no idea who your daughter is. This in her room. So she goes to the university like head teacher and is like, where's my daughter? And they're like, oh yeah, she left weeks ago. Did she not tell you? So where the bloody hell's her daughter? I had no clue where this was going. I literally was like, what could be the possible outcomes of this? And my mind didn't go where it went. And that's where the problem is. I personally don't like where it went. It's not something I love in books. Obviously, I can't say because it would be a complete spoiler. But the lead up to it was great. But the ending of it did just let me down. But like I said, I listened to the audiobook in one whole day. So clearly something kept me gripped. And I think I would still recommend it because it's just a personal problem. It's a me problem. I feel really bad because this is signed by T.M. Logan. And like, I love T.M. Logan as an author. I still love him as an author. He's a great domestic thriller author. The Search Party by Hannah Richell has snuck in at the last minute. I literally finished this book on the last day of March. I didn't think I was going to get it done, but I put my foot down. We powered through so I could start with it fresh on the 1st of April. And this book was set in Cornwall. And I absolutely love Cornwall as a place. And I kind of wish that I saved it while I was camping in Cornwall. Because my sister lives in Cornwall and we go camping down there. And I literally have one of those tents. So I kind of wish I saved it for them. But it is what it is. This follows a group of friends who all went to university together. However, they're all like now like in their 40s. So they've all met up with their kids and they've gone on a glamping holiday to Cornwall. When, of course, there is a storm. Some of them go missing, they've all got secrets, and then a body is found. It's your typical, like, thriller book plot. This book isn't really doing anything, like, unique, anything different, but I had a fun time reading it. It even comes with a map, and it also comes with a character list, which I actually found so handy. Like, I actually can't complain that there was too many characters, because all of the characters in the list as well are grouped by family. So if you ever did get confused on like, oh, who is that again? Like, you could just flick back to the beginning and it would tell you like their age and everything. I wish all books would do this. I thought the writing was so easy to read. Like, I was flying through it. And I don't know why I'm giving it 3.5 stars, to be honest. It's probably a bit harsh because I did enjoy it. I think I would have just liked a few more like twists and stuff along the way. But it did feel like they all had secrets, you know, so it was kind of like, yeah, juicy gossip, which I say all the time, which I absolutely love. It actually very much reminded me of a Lucy Clarke book. Lucy Clarke does great destination thrillers. Like, she does just the best settings and like where you can really see them. And I could really see this like destination. So I'm probably being a bit harsh, to be honest. I would recommend you pick this book up, but just don't go into it with like the expectations that it's gonna like blow your mind, you know. Now this one, guys, this pains me to say. I actually can't believe I've rated this book 3.5 stars. Like, I could cry. Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. If there was one book that you had said to me, Michaela, what book are you most excited for in 2025? I would have said this. I can't believe that I'm only rating it 3.5 stars. Like, my heart hurts. So this book follows a woman who has sadly just lost her husband. Her husband was pushed in front of a train, which was that was brutal. Didn't see that come in. And she is grieving, and one day she receives a parcel from a man that claims to have known her ex-husband and says, like, we were such good friends. This is one of his old lighters, his Zippo lighter. I want you to have it. They then start building up a relationship. However, the guy that was pushed in front of a train, his daughter Ash, is a bit suspicious of this guy. She thinks that he isn't to be trusted and he may be taking advantage of her mum. And I'm really conflicted with this review, as I literally read it in like 2 or 3 sittings. It, as always with Lisa Jewell, her characters are amazing. Her writing is just so easy to read. I just thought like this whole story was just a bit unbelievable. And I don't mind suspending my disbelief in books, but this just went a bit to the extreme. I think personally there were things that could have been done to make it a bit more believable. And we actually buddy read this. There was like 5 of us who buddy read it, and I think we all feel exactly the same. That like, I kind of feel like the women were just being portrayed as like these thick like women, and I just think like, should we be doing that as women? I don't know. And like I said, I'm so conflicted because there's so much of this story that I really, really did enjoy. But it was just, it was just slightly too unbelievable. And I don't like how the things were portrayed, because stuff like this does happen. But to this extreme, I don't know. And I know, like when we're reading these books, they don't have to be believable. But I feel like the route that Lisa Jewell was going down when she was writing this book wasn't like for the reader to be suspending their disbelief. So I'm so conflicted, but I think I'm going to go 3.5 stars. I think I could talk myself down lower, to be honest. And I also think I could talk myself up. So this is just so hard. I'm so excited to see what everybody will think of this when it comes out in July. All of my friends who read it, like I said, they all feel exactly the same. I'm going to pass it round to a few people from like my book club, I think, and get their point of view as well and see what they think. It was also so long. It was like nearly 456 pages long. And at times I was like, okay, like this is really repetitive now. You've literally told me this like 15 times. I think 100 pages could have been shaved off easily. And then actually it probably would have been a higher rater. And I feel so mean. I literally feel horrible. Like, I don't like giving bad reviews anyway, but like giving bad reviews like your favourite author. I'm sorry, Lisa. I'm sure she doesn't care. She doesn't care. Okay, let's move on to the 4-star books, and the first one is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, which is another one that I read in a reading vlog this month. I actually had no intentions of reading this book. I literally I love the Hunger Games as a series, but I didn't know if I needed this book. So I didn't have any intentions like during the hype up for it, but when I felt myself slipping into a slump, I was like, right, let's try this. This can save me. And it did. So this book, if you've been living under a rock, follows Hamish's story from the Hunger Games. And like I said, it's a story that I didn't know if I needed or not. And I still don't know if I feel like I needed it or not. But I did really enjoy it. It very much gave the first Hunger Games book vibes. Like, you know, like when Katniss got chosen and taken to the Hunger Games. Did feel like it was like very nostalgic and like maybe felt a little bit like the same book. But I still enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. Everyone says it's been making them cry. I didn't cry, but I don't really cry, to be honest. So take that with a pinch of salt. The next book I gave 4 stars was Delilah S. Dawson's Guillotine. And this is a teeny weeny little hardback with such a cute cover. I love pink and red together. I absolutely love this. I think you should go into this book pretty blind because it is so short. But it essentially follows a girl called Des, as her boyfriend is like this rich ass family. They own like a private island, and she goes to the family island with them for a holiday, and shit goes down. And I think that's all you should really know going into it. I like this. I really like this, but I didn't love it as much as a book that I'm going to be speaking about shortly. It very much gave like Glass Onion, Knives Out vibes. Like family drama, was a bit wacky, I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad I read it, and it was a really, really quick read. Like literally, I want to say like it's like 190 pages long. So yeah, a 1-sitting read. The next book I gave 4 stars was The Bones Beneath My Skin by TJ Klune, and I thought this was going to be a 5-star. 4 stars is still really good, but if you would ask me to predict a rating for this, I would have said 5 stars, just because TJ Klune wrote 2 of my favourite books, The House Across The House in the Cerulean Sea, and Somewhere Beyond the Sea. I forgot what they were called then. And my friends who also love that series have also loved this. So I went into this thinking, yeah, I'm also going to love it. We follow a guy called Nate whose mum and dad have sadly just passed away. He didn't really have a relationship with them though, and all they've left him is their family like cabin in the woods. So he goes there to escape life and just kind of deal with his grief. But he walks in and there's a strange man in his log cabin that he's never seen before, who's with a young girl called Artemis Darth Vader. Artemis Darth Vader is special, and you will have to read the book to find out why she's special. And I did enjoy this. Again, the characters, I love the way that TJ Klune just writes characters, absolutely unreal. But this was more sci-fi than what I was expecting. It's definitely more of a sci-fi fantasy, where like The House in the Cerulean Sea is more of a cozy fantasy, and I'm not a big sci-fi lover. So my 4-star rating is purely based on like the characters, the characterization of these, and how much I just loved like the characters. The sci-fi part of it, I'm going to be honest, it lost me. I had no clue what was going on. But if you're a fan of TJ Klune and you do like sci-fis, I would recommend that you pick this book up. It only came back out in February. It was originally self-published. However, it's been like traditionally published now. And I'm really sad it's not a 5 stars, but I will take a 4-star. And Artemis Darth Vader, I will remember her forever. The Midnight King by Tariq Ashkenani was another 4-star read for me. This is a book that is coming out in April, and I was not expecting this book to be as dark as what it was. All I'm saying to you is check your trigger warnings, because my God, is this book dark. It follows a guy called Lucas whose dad has just unexpectedly passed away, and they haven't really had a relationship, so he's gone back to like Nashville, where they're from, and to try and like sort out all of his stuff and the funeral plans. His dad was a best-selling author, and he's also a serial killer. His dad is a serial killer. When Lucas is going through his things, he finds an unpublished manuscript that was written by his dad called The Midnight King. And The Midnight King is a fictional retelling of his dad's crimes. It's basically a confession, but in a fictional way. So again, we've got that book within a book trope, and you actually get like extracts of the book throughout this, and I absolutely loved that. I was a bit wary going into this because on the back it says, warning, contains the biggest plot twist of 2025. And I was like, oh, that is a bold claim. But the twists in this book, I was shook at. Like, it's not just like at the end either. Like, I like it when they have like twists like sprinkled the way through. And some of the twists in this, my God. I think a lot of you will like this book, and I'm really, really excited to see what everyone thinks of it when it does come out. However, like I said, please, please, please check trigger warnings, because some of the stuff in here, yeah. I was actually lucky enough to do an interview with the author, and he was so lovely. And hearing about like his inspirations between writing this, like about writing this book, was so interesting, and how like he came up with it. Wild. And my last 4-star book of the month was The Surf House by Lucy Clark. This is an art copy, however, it is now out. And if you are going on holiday this year, this is the book that you need to be taking on holiday with you. Like, it only feels right that you read this book sitting around a pool, like with a cocktail, or sitting on the beach while somebody's bringing you cocktails. Like, that's the vibes that this book brings. It follows a girl called Bee who is a model, and she is in Morocco, and one day she's had enough. She's like, I don't want to be a model anymore. So she leaves the hotel where she's staying, where she gets into an altercation and something happens. She then takes refuge at a place called the Surf House, which is where people travel from all over the world. They come and stay there, and they obviously surf in Morocco. It's like a famous like little shack. I'm really selling this book to you, aren't I, God? But she quickly finds out that a girl that was staying there before her, in the same room, same age as her, went missing, and nobody knows what happened to her. Lucy Clark just writes the best destination thrillers. I can't explain like how her settings that she writes, like you can see them vividly. And because this is set by the sea with the sun and the beach, it is just going to be that perfect holiday read. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the story. I had no idea where it was going to go. Really recommend this book. And then finally, the 5-star books. And I can't believe I had 3 5-star books this month. One thing you should know about me is I am very stingy with my 5-star books. So if I give a 5-star, like, you know I loved it. 2 of them were by Kristen Hanna. So let me tell you about those 2 first, and then I'll tell you about my favourite book of the month. The first one is called The Great Alone, and in this we follow a family the dad has just returned from the Vietnam War, and sadly he's come home with PTSD. When he was serving in the war, he met a man who sadly passed away, and he left him his cabin in Alaska. So Ern, our main character, has come back and basically said to his family, we're up in sticks, we're moving to Alaska. But they've never ever lived anywhere like that in their lives. They're not prepared at all. And this is just a heartbreaking story of a family trying to deal with the dad's PTSD, trying to survive in Alaska, but found family as well. Like, this is just a real character-driven story that will break your heart. And the second 5-star book was The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. And this time we're following a woman called Elsa as she gets pregnant very young and her family completely disown her. So she has to move in with the guy that she's essentially had a one-night stand with. She's had to move in with him and his family because this is set in the 1920s. You can't, have a baby and not be married. They live on a farm when the Dust Bowl hits, and this is set during the Great Depression. And let me tell you, this is a depressing book. I feel like all of Kristen Hanna's books are quite depressing, but I feel like I learned so much about parts of history, and I know these are fictional stories. However, they are based around real life events. Like the Great Depression was a real life event, so was the Vietnam War. And I always think the blurbs of her books as well, they don't do them justice. If I had just read the blurb for The Four Winds, I probably I wouldn't have been interested, to be perfectly honest with you. But it was just the most amazing story of strong women. I do think Kristen Hanna's books can be quite dense, and I think I would struggle with reading them physically. So I actually did do both on audio, and the audiobook narrator is amazing. The way that she tells stories, wow. So I am well and truly in my Kristen Hanna era. I think I want to read Winter Garden next. Everybody's been telling me that that's a really good one. And then I think there's another one called Wild, which I think does have a different name, maybe in America. So I think those are 2 that are next on my radar. And now it's time to tell you about my favourite book of the entire month. If you are going to take one recommendation from this video, it has to be this. Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. I have had this sat on my shelf for the longest time, and I can't believe it's taken me this long to pick it up. It's literally a 200-page book. This is the same author as Guillotine that I spoke about before. Wow. I finished this book and I text my 2 best mates. I text Kylie and Ashley, and I was like, guys, you need to stop what you're doing. Read this book immediately. They both did. Kylie gave it 5 stars. Ashley, I think, gave it 4 stars. And then I said to my fiance, Amy, I was like, please read this book. She gave it 5 stars. This is another one that's so short. I do think you need to go in mainly blind, because I can promise you, you will not guess where this book goes. We follow a girl called Ash who, she goes to this farmer's market one day where she sees a girl who's got her own stall. Her name is Ro, and she becomes a bit obsessed with her. Ash has never had any feelings for a girl before, so she's a bit confused. She doesn't know whether she wants to be with her or be her. So it's kind of that little by awakening, worst by awakening ever. And honestly, that's all I'm going to tell you, because I do think that you just need to go into this book blind, because the ending will stay with me for the rest of my life. I don't think I've ever been so shooketh by an ending in my life. I will be telling everybody to read this book for the foreseeable. It could possibly be up there at the minute with one of my favourite books of the year so far. That's how much I love this book. 200 pages and it packed a punch. I now want to read all of Delilah S. Dawson's books. She's got another one coming out in September, which I think is called House of Idyll, and I think that's cults. And we all know how I feel about cults. I love it. So please, please, please go read this book. And if you do, please come back and tell me what you think of it, because I would absolutely love to know. And that's it, guys. 16 books. I actually can't believe it. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this again. But I will give it a good go. I can't pick them up. They're too heavy. Thank you so much for watching. please hit that subscribe button, give this video a like if you did enjoy it, and I shall see you next time.